The NPP submit its petition to the Chief Justice to begin investigations on the leaked tape of former Deputy Communications Minister Victoria Hammer.
This morning, I instructed my Communication Director, Perry Kujato, to send the petition, and you could see a copy here after I signed that. So the copy is gone. It said the petition for probe into the election petition judgment. So we send it to Her Ladyship Justice Georgina Theodore Wood, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Accra. So it has gone today, and we believe that some work will be done regarding that.
Party General Secretary Kwadwo Osei, who announced said this is the first part of their petition. The second petition, he said, will be addressed to Parliament in due course, and he added the claim of Nana Oye-Letha influencing the judge's decision should not be swept under the carpet. Is the timing right? What are the legal implications? We spoke to the NDC's General Secretary, Johnson Asedu Nketia. This is today's big story. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Now, Miss Victoria Hammer was sacked Friday morning by President John Mahama after the recording had been made public, in which she was heard implying that she would not put her political career at risk by engaging in squabbles with political heavyweights until she had made $1 million. In the recording, Ms. Hammer made reference to a series of disagreements between Ms. Apo and Nana Oye-Letha, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. Ms. Hammer was heard chastising Ms. Apo for daring to pick up a fight with Nana Oye, whom she described as an institution with close links to President Mahama and Mr. and Mrs. Rawlings. She claimed to have heard that Nana Oye-Letha played a fundamental role in securing a favorable verdict for President Mahama in the 2012 election petition verdict. The General Secretary of the NPP, Kwadwo Osei, also known as Sir John, finds the content revealing and has therefore petitioned the Chief Justice to investigate the matter.
The fact that there's a Deputy Minister of State very close to the President, John Dramani Mahama, Vicky Hammer, who makes these startling revelations about the fact that Nana Oye-Letha played a yeoman's role in securing the NDC the victory that they had, especially concerning the Supreme Court case. For us, that is something that is serious, that needed to be probed into, and to find out what role she actually played. Because Vicky Hammer is very emphatic that it is the role that she played that secured victory for the NDC, which accounts for the reason why she could go in and out of John Mahama's house without any, security checks whatsoever. And she added that up, to show how important she is. And so for us, the matter ought not to end there. If you also look at it from another angle, that we have three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and then the judiciary. And then we have one arm of government, the executive, interfering with the work of the judiciary. It is a very serious matter, and looking at her association with the president and how close she is with the presidency, she certainly knows more than the NDC would want us to understand. And so having this matter, having voluntarily on her own volition come out from her, confirming the role that Nana Oye-Letha played, we think that it merits the attention of the Chief Justice and for purposes of probing, to find out what actually happened, what role she played, and with which of the justices.
Now, Sir John added that the content of the petition that was presented to the Chief Justice on Monday morning was very emphatic and should be addressed immediately.
It's contained in the letter you're petitioning.
Well, we've drawn the CJ's attention to the tape. We have attached copies of the tape for the attention of her ladyship, the Chief Justice, and when she plays it, we believe that she will have no doubt at all in her mind that it is a matter that is a very serious matter, and that calls for introspection. Look, this is not the first time that these things will be happening. I quite remember when Mr. Chikata was, being prosecuted, and then Justice Henry Taban was about to deliver her judgment. We heard all sorts of stories that there was a phone call, she went out, she picked up the phone, and blah, 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 blah. This was Tony Lita who made this serious allegation. The Chief Justice set up an internal inquiry into the matter. And I learned that one of the justices who sat in the petition was a witness for Tony Lita in that matter, that Justice Henrietta Aban received a call. And to them, the call had intimated that Chechigada should be imprisoned. Of course, this woman denied it. Her leadership denied that. But in spite of that, an internal inquiry was conducted by the CJ. And I think that this is even more serious than that. And so it calls for the Chief Justice, in order to allay the fears of all Ghanaians, that nothing untoward happened on that day. And for us also to have confidence in the fact that when John Mahama was seen wearing white, clad in white apparel, with his vice president and some appointees, all on the day.
We also caught up with the General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, and this is what he told us.
He claims to be a lawyer and he knows how court processes work. So I do not want to talk about his process. He knows how to do this thing, and if the court could be moved on the basis of rumors and so on, it is up to him. It is not up to me to talk about it. Then he has the time to waste. I don't.
The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Nana Oyelitha, has, however, debunked the content of the tape. She's therefore referred to it as unfounded and preposterous. Now, her communications aide, let me put it that way, Mercy Jabeng, spoke to today's big story.
The press statement basically talks about the fact that the allegations are wholly and totally untrue, because none of them is true. So wholly and totally untrue.
Right, so Nana Oyelitha denying that. But Sir John is, however, confident of a positive feedback from the Chief Justice.
Let us wait and see what her leadership does. Like I've said, this is not the first time that she will be doing that. There was an internal inquiry into that alleged telephone call that the judge received before judgment was delivered. And so I believe that in the interest of justice, especially we had this to say in our Ghana's motto, there is this immortal words, freedom and justice. We think that the two must be seen to be done. And so, the Chief Justice certainly would have a look at it, because it's a very serious matter. And when you hear the NDC say that, Victoria Hammer was sacked because of what? Because they will not give reasons, but you hear some of their people saying that, because of the $1 million that she mentioned. Not because of the fact that the NDC procured the judgment through some influence, and they don't see that as serious. We deem it serious that matter ought to be gone into. Now, I suspect that that embarrassment that is caused to them, which is why she has been sacked, not because she's mentioned any $1 million. What is $1 million? She I've listened to the tape carefully. She never said that she's made $1 million. She says that if you are in government or if you are in a position and you want to have an influence, then you must be loaded That's all that she was saying. And I don't think that that alone would have merited her being sacked. She's been sacked because of the fact that she had spilled the beans. Nana Oyelita, the role that she played in securing the NDC, that crucial victory on the 29th of August.
Right, let's go to the phone lines and get some legal interpretation of what is happening. Samson Ladi Ayenine is a legal practitioner. Thanks so much for your time, Samson.
Hi.
First of all, let's look at what has just happened. The NPP says that it has dropped a petition on the desk of the Chief Justice demanding kind of investigations into the alleged tape purportedly being that of the voice of Miss Victoria Hammer. In the legal environment, how would you describe this?
Well, to the extent that it is not a sort of process seeking a review of the Supreme Court's, judgment on the petition, but that this is asking for an administrative action, there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly within their right to bring to the attention of the Chief Justice what they think are disturbing, circumstances or incidences that point to some attempt at some miscarriage of justice. So, it's perfectly within their right. Anybody at all, you and I, can get up any day and petition the Chief Justice on any matter in which we feel has the potential of compromising justice.
Samson, educators, some are of the view that when a case is adjudicated, if I'm using the right word, and after the verdict is in passed, there's a time frame within which you can drop anything like that. Am I thinking right?
That's what I'm explaining to you. To the extent that what they are asking for is an administrative action, an investigation, is not a judicial action. It is perfectly within their right to do so.
Right.
They had within 1 month to seek a review of the judgment. They are not saying they are seeking a review. What they are saying is that they have a petition, and in this case, saying a petition is not the same as a petition in the election petition.
Right.
The election petition was a judicial inquiry or investigation into the alleged malpractices and unlawful or conduct alleged that had taken place during the election. But this one is a petition in the ordinary sense of the word petition.
Right.
It has no any legal meaning or connotation. It's a simple petition. It's like you make a complaint at your workplace. You find that something is going on and you don't really like it, or you think that it borders on some crime or some fraud or something, and then you write a letter to either your HR or you write to the CEO and say that it is important for some investigation or inquiry to be made into this to come to a conclusion as to what it is. When it comes to the judiciary, it is more important and critical because we are talking about a petition that went to the Supreme Court and the court determined the matter. And they are saying that someone who belongs to the respondent in that petition,
right,
is giving indication that another member of the group that belongs to the respondent in the petition had seen the judges and sought to compromise the judges before the judgment was delivered. Nana Oyelita has denied it flatly.
Right.
They insist as a party that they were the petitioners, and they feel that these comments or these revelations, so to speak, should not be taken lightly. There are some who subscribe to the view that this was pure, idle gossip of empty rumor, and there's nothing more to it. Well, they say there's something more to it than meets the eye, and they are asking the CJ to investigate. or to constitute a committee, a commission to look into it. They are perfectly within their right to ask. It is also another thing left to the CJ to determine whether he would want to grant their request
or not.
She would look at their request and come to the determination whether prima facie there is a substance to it to look into, or this is just some idle gossip of what I call empty rumor that is not worth pursuing.
Samson, hold the line for me. Let me also speak to a colleague legal practitioner, lawyer Kisi Ejabin. He's just joined this discussion. Now, lawyer Kisi Ejabin, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Now, for instance, I have been speaking to the NPP General Secretary, lawyer Kojo Osei, who is making the claim that a similar situation happened when Mr. Tchachichi Katta was being tried for a case in which Justice Henrietta Aban was involved, and there was an inquiry into that particular allegation that Justice Henrietta Aban received a call before the verdict. Is it likely that you legal brains will want to dwell on a precedent to take a decision with what is happening today from the Chief Justice's office?
Well, I really don't get your question.
Right. This is what I'm saying. I want to talk about precedent in law. And Kojo Osei has said that a similar incident happened when Mr. Tchachichi Katta was on trial under Justice Henrietta.
Let me put it this way. If you can point to a precedent and it is workable, fine. If you can't point to a precedent and it will not be workable, that is also another thing. But what I understand them to be doing is really not judicial in nature, but trying to invoke some administrative processes, which may eventually, if it has bite, have some implications on the judgment as delivered. But as I said earlier, to me, I see it as an invocation of some administrative processes in respect of an investigation delving into whether indeed something untoward was done as far as the judges were concerned.
Just as Samson explained, are you therefore saying that it is administrative, so it could not have any effect on the...
No, I said it may, depending on how it goes. Because if the allegation is that they were compromised, and because of their compromised state, they came up with a decision which would otherwise not have been, then what you're actually saying is that the judgment was procured by promise of this or that, and that is what may have some implication on the judgment as delivered. But as I'm saying, it will depend on what is proved and the processes that are set up. As we are speaking now, in my opinion, it is administrative.
And that means that perhaps something that the respondents should not be worried about because it is administrative. Is that the way you want to put it?
I'm not saying anyone should be or should not be worried. The reason why I say it is administrative is because it is not a petition brought judicially,
right?
As in, for a court to sit on to determine its merits or otherwise. It is a petition sent to the Chief Justice in her administrative capacity as the head of the judiciary for there to be an inquiry. So if there's going to be an inquiry, it's not going to be a legal inquiry into the election petition itself. But with what I understand the petition to be saying, it's as if, well, if indeed this allegation is founded or this talk is founded, then look into it whether indeed the judges were compromised. And if it is arrived at, I'm using my words advisedly, a very big if what the petitioners are saying is what happened, and if it is established, then that will have some consequences on the judicial exercise by the Niger.
What you're describing to me, do we have past experiences a case having been settled, there is an administrative inquiry, as you put it.
I will not put it this way. I do not want to point to cases, but this is what. Let me put it this way. See, a judge swears an oath to uphold the law. So many cases. I'm not going to talk about specific cases, but so many cases have come up where people have petitioned the Chief Justice, alleging that some judge was compromised. And the Chief Justice has actually gone ahead to institute administrative procedures, and in some cases, it has actually led to the dismissal of some of the judges, even as of this year. That is what I'm talking about, and that is why I keep saying that what is happening now is really not a judicial process, but an administrative process. But there are countless number of cases where some aggrieved parties have petitioned the Chief Justice, and administrative procedures have been gone into for the judges to be investigated, and then final results are presented. And if indeed something happened, fine. If not nothing untoward happened, then the case, that is a natural death.
Let me speak briefly to Samson. I'll come back to you to wrap up. Samson, if you are there, now, this administrative process has been initiated. Precisely, what are the steps leading to what the Chief Justice will do, and perhaps, if you can share with us, where will it end?
Well, Nana, like you just heard my very respected senior say, I mean, it's a straightforward point. This is administrative inquiry. The Chief Justice, as I mentioned earlier, would make a determination, prima facie, if there is any matter at all worth, inquiring into or investigating. If it comes to that determination that the matters are weightier and deserve, that the attention that the petitioners are calling for, and petitioner used the word literally, not in the legal sense, then a committee or a commission will be constituted, and they will look into it. But you see, again, in the court, at the judiciary, that process already exists. If you have any matter, like my senior said, and you think something has gone on, it didn't go on well, you write to the Chief Justice, and she does the investigation. Those who are found to have done something wrong are punished. If it is a judge who have violated their oath to do justice without fear or favor to all manner of persons, and they end up having been compromised and it's so established, those judges are not worth their calling, and they'll be sanctioned accordingly. I'm sure you have heard before that some judges have suffered, some dismissal or something to the effect.
Exactly.
It applies across board.
And so the Chief Justice will have to do this and constitute perhaps a kind of a panel to look at what is happening. Now, before I let you go, the NPP says that apart from the Chief Justice, it will go to Parliament. Perhaps, should it be after the judicial service, should it move on to Parliament? Is there any legal interpretation we can find into this?
If you can repeat the last part of the question.
After going to the judicial service, the NPP says it is not ending there, it is going to Parliament. Legally, is there anything right or wrong here?
There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong. You see, they make the determination where they want, which forum they want to be heard. You see,
does it suggest that they don't trust the Chief Justice enough, and that after going there they want to go to Parliament?
It's not a legal process. When you decide to make a demonstration or to make a protest over a certain matter, you can decide to choose a number of places where you want to deposit your statement or your statement of protest.
Right.
It is just in the same light that you might want to give it to the president, but you will copy certain other institutions that are concerned. And so I think you would like to see it in that perspective, that they are simply copying Parliament on it.
Right.
So that if, Parliament, of course, is the other arm of government, the second arm of government, is it? So they may also put some weight behind it and make some statements on the floor that might, as it were, persuade the Chief Justice to want to look at it, more seriously than they may have it. So that is perfectly within their judgment to make.
Right, Samson, thanks so much for speaking to us on today's big story. Let me wrap up with lawyer Kisia Jabe. Lawyer Jabe, if let's assume that you are a legal advisor to the NPP, let's wrap up briefly on this. What would you be advising the NPP on?
I always refrain from asking that. From answering that. Someone will have to pay me consultation fees before I do that.
Right.
I don't really give advice in the open like that. So I'll indulge you to spare me on this one.
All right. Lawyer Jabe, thanks so much for speaking to us on today's big story. A legal practitioner and lawyer, Kisia Jabe, there talking to me on today's big story. But don't forget that the NPP says that it has dropped the petition on the desk of the Chief Justice, and it's hopeful the Chief Justice will work on it. Now, let's take a last soundbite. I'll come back to wrap up the show.
Let us wait and see what her leadership does. Like I've said, this is not the first time that she will be doing that. There was an internal inquiry into that alleged telephone call that the judge received before judgment was delivered. And so I believe that in the interest of justice, especially we had this to say in our Ghana's motto, there's this immortal words, freedom and justice. We think that the two must be seen to be done. And so, the Chief Justice certainly would have a look at it, because it's a very serious matter. And when you hear the NDC say that, Victoria Hammer was sacked because of what? Because they will not give reasons, but you hear some of their people saying that, because of the $1 million that she mentioned. Not because of the fact that the NDC procured the judgment through some influence, and they don't see that as serious. We deem it serious that matter ought to be gone into. Now, I suspect that that embarrassment that is caused to them, which is why she has been sacked, not because she's mentioned any $1 million. What is $1 million? I've listened to the tape carefully. She never said that she's made $1 million. She says that if you are in government or if you are in a position and you want to have an influence, then you must be loaded. That's all that she was saying. And I don't think that alone would have merited her being sacked. She's been sacked because of the fact that she had spilled the beans. Nana Oyelita, the role that she played in securing the NDC that crucial victory on the 29th of August. That is the reason why she's been sacked, not because of any money.
The entire segment of the show is starting right after this. Thanks so much for staying there. Marian is joining me soon. My name is Brighton, and I'm coming back in a minute. Welcome back to the interactive segment of the show. Marian has joined me. We're going to talk about tariffs, and I'm sure you're aware by now government is absorbing 25% of what you were supposed to pay, 78.9. I'm sure. Are people excited about it?
Some are, but some are quite skeptical. They're thinking, okay, you're saying you're going to absorb 25%. How is it going to work? And some of them are thinking that the poor person who needs it will not receive it, and that perhaps it will go to those people who are already, benefiting from it anyway. So why bother?
We're told it takes effect from the 1st of October.
Retrospective effect.
And so
exactly.
For those of us who have bought prepaid what happened to our money?
What happens is that the explanation that the ECG have been giving is that they would give you your money back, but not money back. They would give you, should I say, units back whenever you buy.
So if I buy 20 cedis, I get like 25, 30?
They would go through it because they have a system that records however much you bought.
Right.
So depending on how much they owe you, they would know how much to give you back until they have actually cleared it off.
Okay, we have more energy to spend. Welcome.
We do. Thank you so much. Welcome to JN Interactive. My name is Maria Dure. So welcome back, and if you're just joining us, you are watching JN Interactive within today's big story and the social media tools that you need to get in touch with the show. You have to go to facebook.com/joynews-on-tv to like our page and comment on every post that we put there, and then we'll share your comments with the rest of the world. If you are sending us a tweet, send it to Joy News on TV. That is where we tweet. We tweet at Joy News on TV, and please use the hashtag JNInteractiveGH so we'll be able to sort all your comments and take them all at once. I am on Twitter too, by the way, and I tweet at MN If you're sending us an email, send it to joynewsim@multitvworld.com, and our WhatsApp number is 0260 518 801. That's where you can send all your pictures and your WhatsApp comments, so we will also share them with the rest of the world. So JN Interactive is where tech meets news to set the agenda. And electricity tariffs have been reduced by 25%. Government announced this reduction on Sunday amidst threats of a nationwide strike by organized labor with retrospective effect from October the 1st. Several calls for reduction in the recent tariff increments of 79% has, been rejected by government initially with the excuse that such an exercise will amount to interfering with the constitutional mandate of the PURC. And government has gone ahead and done it anyway. So does this then mean that government is interfering with the work of the PURC if that's what they were trying not to do? Now that they have done it, are they interfering with the work of government? And is the pressure that they mounted working? So, organized labor and all the other groups mounted pressure on government, and they threatened mass protests. So is this actually what has pushed government to do what it has done? We have posted something on Facebook. We have been around talking to you on our video blogs. Today, I think it will be better to start with the Facebook comments, because more often than not, we do the blogs and we forget about some of your comments. So I'll try and start with that and do as much of them as possible before we go and take our video blog. So we have been asking you, the precursor has been set. Does this then mean government is interfering with the work of the PURC? And is government just bowing to pressure? You're sharing your thoughts with us. We just posted this a few minutes ago, about 13 minutes ago, and 33 comments already. It does go to prove that this show is all about you, and it thrives on what you bring to us, and you do really get interactive. So FO says no, the government is interfering with the work of the PURC or bowing to pressure. Okay, government is not, you mean to say. This just means government has the people at heart and has decided to listen to the Ghanaian masses by reducing the electricity tariffs by 25%. So that is your take on that. You don't think government is bowing. You're only thinking that, okay, we have cried, we have petitioned the government, we have threatened to do, our worst. And so government has heard all of this, and then they are acting, so they are not bowing to pressure. That's what you're saying. Kennedy Asare Bequin says government is doing his job as the head of the country, but it's late. My question is, will it take effect after the increment has been done already? Retrospective effect, Kennedy Asare. It was supposed to take effect October the 1st. So whatever you have bought within that period from October the 1st till now, whatever increment was on it will be deducted, or it will be reduced by 25% if that is the understanding. So it means that your utility provider now owes you 25% less on everything that you have bought. So when you go to buy your next, prepaid credit, you'll be given 25% back, however much it is. They would see how they can do it for you to get all the money back. That is what it means. Nana Yao says the government is seriously not bowing to pressure. That is what you are saying. Drew Odaladem says this government is not experienced. Kwesi Ansa Kofi says sure, government is really interfering in the work of the PURC. Jacob says that there is no change in value. For you, the value is still the same. Whether the tariff is still up or is still down, the value is still the same. Audu from Gushegu says that is good news. You're welcoming the 25% reduction. Ambrose says, yeah, the government is definitely bowing to pressure. This is simply because it is the language the government understands, and most of the people I spoke to today were echoing the same thing. They had the same sentiment, that it is only when we agitate, when we threaten to do our worst, the government listens to us. When we go to the table and negotiate, government doesn't understand negotiations. Government understands force. And but I don't think that it ought to be so. Roland Yeboah Fineboy says this has nothing to do with government bowing to pressure. It simply means we have a government that has the people at heart, and also that shows that he hears our cry. Ambrose says good news though. Theophilus Osei, I thought the government said PURC was independent. Oh, Ghana politics, empty promises, political lies, fake propaganda, corruption. God is our only hope. Usma says the government is scared of pressure. Christian Salvo, this is good news to hear from the government. We thank them for listening to the Ghanaian masses and reducing the electricity tariff. The government deserves to be recommended for taking this bold decision. So I think you mean to say commended, and of course government should be commended, but should you be commended for what you ought to do anyway? But we can also say, yes, if you have done well, you should be commended. So it's dicey. Abdullah Abdul Razak says, is this somehow better? Government needs to do more. Roland says, better Ghana, Gear 1 starting up. I love you so much, JDM, man of the people. Anyway, John, I dare for your feet. Any coins for me? Right. Isa says, this is a listening government. That is what you're thinking. Lamte says, thank God. Richie, strides cannot change Ghana. We have to change our mentality. That is the only way to change Ghana. My answer to your question is yes, the government is interfering. Masaudu says, of course, the government has interfered in the work of the PURC, but I think the credit should go to the organized labor for being able to rescue Ghanaians. Issa says, this is very good. Kweko Pare says, insensitivity. If the CUC had not come out, wouldn't the government have reduced the tariffs? That we do not know if anything would have changed had organized labor not pressed on. Junior says, Idebi Keke. Roland again, I think it is better to interfere in any group to bring things to others than to respect some people's cheap feelings and allow Ghanaians to suffer. So you like the U-turn that government has made. Omar says, these people only listen to noise and not thinking of the other countryman. They know the effects of organized demonstrations, especially with respect to what is happening in the Arab world. David Edu Frimpong, PURC is fake. It's all JDM working through them. You can call their hotlines to make complaints and they don't even pick your calls. All they know is to do the wishes of politicians. Fake people. Christian Salvo again, as for PURC, I don't think that the government has interfered in their duty because the government said that is a subsidy. Oh, okay. Government has subsidized, that's what you're saying. If government has subsidized by 25%, then it means that the PURC's decision still stands. It's just government who is doing all of us a favor by subsidizing it by 25%. That is what you're trying to say. Tablets Moringa Hook. What a name. Says, I can't see the government doing anything at all. It would be better if they didn't do it at all, because today like this, they have done lights out. Okay, the lights have gone out twice in your area. Who has checked on the ECG to provide good services to Ghanaians? May God have mercy on us. The people who have to do the work cannot do it. Ezekiel says, why this U-turn? Surely 2016 is just in the corner. They will all go. Ojo Peter says, more education is still needed. The government should do the right thing. Umar again, ha 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 ha. If they be, people will deal with them in 2016. So you think that we will change government in 2016, so no problem at all. Newton Jeffett says, welcoming news, even though much more was expected. Caleb says, a better, okay, Ghana was better before, but some people have destroyed it. A reduction, So I'll pause here. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll come and take some more of your comments and our blogs. So we'll take some more of your comments and then take your video blogs. Everything is coming through, so we'll take some comments. Like I promised, I'd like us to do more comments today, play the blogs, and then would Christian says, again, we should stop the politics and speak to the issues on the ground. So if the government do better, we must congratulate them, and if they do bad, we must also point it out. John says, I thank government for listening to the plight of the citizens. Dinah Quay, the government is doing his best. Ghanaians should show some respect. We will talk about everything. And yes, Dinah, I know we ought to show respect, but we have to talk about it. If you do not talk about it, nothing is going to be done. So we are talking about it. Amma says, good news. Raymond Ano Frimpong, they are doing this to take our minds off WikiLeaks. Wow. That is what you think. But you're suffering. This thing had been going on before the leaks came out. So you don't think that the government has actually listened and is doing something about it, but you're thinking it's a cover-up for WikiLeaks. We are still talking about the leaks. Nothing has changed. But this is a more pressing issue that government needs to do something about. So at least let's give them some little credit on that score. Daco says, strike will never stop in this country since JM has proved that it's only strike actions that he listens to. How can I call this a listening government? If it hadn't been TUC strike action, will he have reduced it after all that government communicators said? This government should be up and doing. Abraham Solomon Nuhu says the NDC government has nothing better for Ghanaians. Senna Ju says, thank God. Faisal Abdul says, yeah, the government is really interfering. That is in relation to the PURC matter. Brainy Sanchez Nathaniel says, I don't think government is interfering in PURC's work, but it is the right step taken by government. Well done, and let's keep going. Nevertheless, we want good services from the ECG. Rexford says Ghanaians are grateful. Eric Kofor-Boating, PURC did the increment and the government did the reaction. Who is fooling here? Nice question. I don't know who is. We're trying to reach some resource person to talk to them, but no one is answering. I'll put your question to them so straightforward so they can answer it for us. Godfred says, now that government knows what is good for the gangster is good for the goose. You mean to say the ganda? What is good for the ganda is also good for the goose. Francis says, Ghana, the only way to get your issues addressed is through strikes. The government knows that is the right percentage for quality production of electricity, and just when people go on strike Then they slashed it by a hefty 25%. Democracy is killing us slowly, but at least democracy has allowed you to have your say. So in any way, I am thinking that perhaps democracy is the winner here. It is because of democracy that you're able to even say that you want to go on strike. Because if you were in any other government besides democratic rule, I'm sure you can't even think about it, fathom strike, let alone even speak it out and say, I am going to take this action. So democracy, I think, is good. Adam Usman says, I think the government cares so much about the plight of the ordinary Ghanaians. Wow, so that is what you all have been saying. So many of you have sent comments. I think some of them are mixed up. Charity Sisto says the value of the is still the same. Talk is cheap. We need government to walk the talk simply. Yoni Abbas, I hope Boku VRA has had the reduction because they are selling the prepaid unit as if they are on their own world. I don't know what that means, that what they're giving you a different rate than it's supposed to be. This announcement was only made yesterday, and I am sure that it is from today that things are going to change. And so if you bought anything before Sunday, then of course it is still going to be affected by the old, the 79%. And so I don't know what you're saying, but monitor it and see within the next few days. If anything hasn't changed in your area, you can still get back to us, and we'll be sure to speak to the right people to ask them a few questions on your behalf. Jonathan says, in as much as the tariff has been reduced, I am still thinking if this is not going to lead us into another doomso, as the producers are saying. I rather we pay this tariff now rather than deferring, because as far as the government is concerned, there's going to be quarterly increases from next year. What is the difference then? And a very, very good question. The difference, I do not know. I can't give you any answer to that. I wish that we were able to reach our resource person, so I'd put that question. And Bright Alpha has joined me so that we can wrap up. It's rather unfortunate we couldn't take our video blocks. A little technical issues here and there, but we will try and take it another time.
Right, and when we get here at 8 with Israelite, he will tell you why the country's war veterans are angry. They claim neglect by the state. A few of them who showed up at the commemoration of this year's Remembrance Day at the military cemetery told Joy News they are yet to receive war allowances which were promised them, and that they are forced to depend on handouts for their sustenance. That is what Israelite will tell you at 8 o'clock when our primetime news is on.
And also in the primetime news with Israelite at 8 o'clock, President John Mahama has charged the new police council to confront what he says are peculiar challenges facing the police service, including the infrastructural deficiencies and transportation. And he was speaking at the Flagstaff House, where he inaugurated a 10-member council to man the affairs of the Ghana Police Service.
Right, but for now, we leave in the studios for Joy News exclusive to come your way, but we'll have more later on Primetime News at 8. My name is Bright Nanamfo.
And as always, my name is Marian Toure. Have a fruitful week.
Yeah.